What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Doing a little Steelers Titans recap just real quick while my son is asleep. Another interesting primetime game for the Steelers. Really just business as usual, man. It was an ugly win, but they got the dub regardless. I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the things I thought were worth talking about in this one. Just some changes really from the Steelers from the jump. Matt Canada being down on the sideline instead of up in the booth, I thought was a change that probably needed to be made, just given the struggles of the offense, better communication down on the field. It seemed like, they got off to a really good start tonight. It had an opening drive touchdown. I mean, what was that all about? Been a while since we've seen one of those. So it was nice to see them, come out and actually look like a functional offense early in the first quarter. It was nice to get an early lead. So I thought that change was notable. The other notable change that we talked about on Twitter through the week, Broderick Jones starting at right tackle for Okorafor. This was another move that I think is, that looks really good, especially when you watch the game again. I just finished watching the first half for the second time, and I thought Broderick played really well, man. I mean, this was his first real start, I think, at right tackle ever. At least I don't think he started there at Georgia at all. Definitely hasn't started, obviously, in the NFL, just his second career start, but looked really good in pass protection. Seemed like he had a couple impact blocks in the run game. Excited to dive into the film. But, when you start a guy at an unnatural position on a short week like that, a rookie, and you don't even really notice that he's out there, that's a pretty good thing usually. So I'm excited to see like just how good he was on tape. But early returns seem pretty positive. Kind of wanted to get into the ground game stuff, man. I thought the Steelers' run game was really, really positive tonight. Jalen Warren, Najee Harris both set the tone, combined over 150 rushing yards, like 5.8 yards per carry. Najee scored that opening drive touchdown. Jalen had a couple big plays as well. They produced some splash, some explosive runs. Just really thought both those guys played extremely well. Even the 45% rushing success rate, it was honestly better than that. If you take out the three plays that the Steelers kind of ran at the end of the game, because they just wanted to punt the ball back to the Titans, they would have had over 50%. And that's always the elite number for a rushing game. So this Titans defense, we talked about it a little bit through the week on the pregame show over on the Steelers Now channel. I mean, they've got some talent. Jeffrey Simmons is a good player, Al-Shaair, but really, I thought that the Steelers were going to be able to do some good things on offense. I think that for the most part, that's what ended up happening. Deontay Johnson finally got in the end zone. Man, it was good to see him score just because we've seen him get so close so many times over the past, 650 days or however long it's been since he last scored. Thought that he played really well, made a couple guys miss after the catch to create some positive gains in the passing game. Of course, had the big sideline late in the fourth quarter to set up that touchdown. So really good game from him. He looks like he's, nearing 100%, getting back into the flow of the offense. And he really was, the sole kind of pass catcher tonight that made any type of impact, with George Pickens being really held pretty quiet, didn't even finish with positive yards on the afternoon. So just on offense in general, I know that he's, received a lot of criticism, from myself, from other people, the fan base. I know you guys, if I read the comments to my videos, I know y'all are on him all the time too, but I'm not a huge fan of Matt Canada's offense, if I'm being 100% transparent, but I thought he called an excellent game tonight. I thought that this was probably the best game overall that I've seen him call as the Steelers offensive coordinator. I'm sure there might be another one out there, but man, the first half, I mean, I think Pickett missed three wide open throws that I can remember. The hitch route to Johnson, I think on the first drive of the game. There was a drag route to Pickens that was open on third down that he sailed. And then they even had a matchup that they wanted on the cover two, like seam bender with Calvin Austin running with a linebacker, and that was Pickett underthrew it. There was some pressure up the middle on that one, but I thought all in all, he was hitting the right buttons tonight. The receivers were wide open. I liked how he created a bunch of easy throws for the quarterback. I thought they were good in the screen game. They did some things, throwing the ball to the guys underneath, letting them make plays after the catch. So all in all, I was pretty happy with the play calling. I mean, if I had to be really yes, I wasn't a huge fan of the Wildcat call on the goal line, and They ended up picking up a false start penalty on it anyways. But aside from just them shooting themselves in the foot, whether it be some errant throws, George Pickens doesn't get his foot in the ground. I thought that was a really good throw from Pickett on the slot fade. I thought the play call was good to get him away from some of those clouded coverages, some of those double teams. Pickens just doesn't get his second foot in bounds. He's got plenty of room, especially we're used to seeing him make crazy catches on the sideline. So I don't know, man. It just seems like they can't get out of their own way sometimes on offense. But all in all, I thought the offensive line played really well. The run game, like I said, was humming. The Titans, they were content playing a lot of cover two, is what it seemed like to me. Um, and then, that resulted in a lot of light boxes. The Steelers were in gun. This is always kind of their formula for when I think their run game looks the best, is like when teams, granted, you can't always ask for 6-man boxes, but anytime they can get these light boxes and kind of turn to the gun run game, I think that those always are the best games for the Steelers, but had a lot of stuff going. Still 325, I think, yards of offense. I mean, nothing too crazy. I mean, heck, Tennessee did end up outgaining them, I think, on the day. But another big thing, they didn't turn the ball over. If there's probably one of the things that I think you could definitely credit Pickett with too. He didn't put the ball in harm's way tonight, so that was a good thing. The Steelers, it's like I said, it's not pretty. It's never pretty, but when they don't turn the ball over, they're going to have a chance just with the way that this defense plays on it. So kind of move on to the defensive side of the ball. First and foremost, I thought that Alex Highsmith had an excellent game. I know Next Gen Stats tweeted something out, double digit pressures or something like that tonight. I mean, we talked about on the Steelers Now show that if the Steelers could just get a lead or make Will Levis, have to get into some more of that drop back passing game, that TJ Watt might set the sack record. That was what I was joking about. But, honestly, Highsmith had even a better game. He just dominated Andre Dillard, who's not a very good player, but you play who's lined up against you. The Titans were down some offensive linemen. The Steelers took advantage. The Steelers pass rush, man, is honestly it's the most redeeming quality of this team. Highsmith played really well, had a couple sacks. TJ had a cleanup sack early, had a couple more pressures. I think he drew a holding penalty or two as well. Thought Keanu Benton played really well. There was one rep where I think he split a double team and almost brought down Levis, but I think Levis made he throw like a cover two hole shot or something like that. But honestly, like again, Cam Hayward, getting him back was really nice. I thought Cam, I wasn't able to really watch him as much as I was planning on, like keying in on him, but I thought that Cam made some plays in the run game. I'm interested to see what he looks like on tape, but it seemed like, Benton got a lot of playing time, even with Hayward coming back. That was something that I was worried about, that he was going to have his snaps reduced again. That's just not what I want to happen, because I think Benton's a stud, man. I think he's going to be a good one for the Steelers defense for a long time. Linebackers, Cole Holcomb, prayers up to him. That looked like a pretty serious injury. Tomlin indicated it was serious in the postgame presser. So definitely hope that everything's good with him. Landon Roberts, Quan Alexander, I thought those guys played fairly well. Landon's been exactly what the Steelers signed him for, man. He's been rock solid against the run. I think he's, near the top of the league in run stops. He's done some really good things in terms of helping them shut down some of these running games. He's a thumper, man. He's an old school linebacker, and that's what they brought him here for. And he's really helped them just kind of stabilize that spine of the defense. And I appreciate that. Role players playing their role. It's always a good thing. The secondary continues to be just the kind of the Achilles heel of this defense, man. The pass rush isn't getting home. The secondary just looks pretty helpless out there. Talk about Patrick Peterson a little bit. I know they're playing him more in the slot, trying to move him around. He keeps endorsements from Coach Tomlin every week in the press conferences on Tuesday. I don't know, man. It's tough to watch. I think just the lack of athleticism. He's lost a step, just trying to be overly physical and grabby to kind of make up for some of the lost athleticism. And it's, resulting in some penalties. We saw him get one against the Rams. I'm not sure if he had one last week or not, but picked up a couple more tonight. They really, Kyle Phillips, I have a buddy of mine who's a Titans fan. So I've heard about the Kyle Phillips stuff with Titans Twitter, but when he's out there cooking, Just like shaking my head, like, man, it's probably over. So I don't know. I want Pat Pete to at least stabilize and be like, at least to where you're not worried about him out there. But I'm worried that things aren't going to get much better and they're going to continue to go downhill. Teams are just going to keep attacking him on the back end. Levi Wallace back in the lineup tonight, played a little bit in sub package stuff. He had two big pass breakups down the stretch. Good coverage on the Traylon Burks deep ball. Hopefully Traylon's okay as well. After that, it looked like a head injury. But hopefully Wallace takes a step and stabilizes his play. I thought that he was solid. Interested to see what the tape says. Joey Porter Jr. a lot of penalties tonight. I think they called him for like 3 penalties. The last one though was complete garbage in my opinion. Hopkins dang near stiff armed him at the break point, and all we talk about talking DBs. If a receiver pushes, you pull, and that's just how you get back into play. Because these refs don't call offensive. And Hopkins pushed off, and Joey just pulled himself back to close the space, and they end up calling a garbage call. I was really upset about that one. But all in all, they had him shadow DeAndre Hopkins around the field. He said that he went to Tomlin this week during practice on Tuesday or whatever and said like, hey, like I want a shadow. I want 10. That's my guy. And they let him do it. He went into the slot with Hopkins. I think he was on him for most of the man reps tonight. So I'm really interested to see what the overall, I think Hopkins only had like 1 catch on him. So the penalties were what they were, some of which were questionable in my opinion. But all in all, thought Joey played pretty well. I think you've got to be absolutely ecstatic about what he's doing, what this rookie class is doing really from the jump. Because even though I liked, you guys remember the channel was early in its early stages, but I was extremely hyped about the Steelers rookie class. But even what they've done through the first 8 weeks has even exceeded my expectations, which were probably too high, I thought at the time, because of how much I liked the class. But I honestly thought that Porter and Jones were just really high ceiling players, and they were going to take a little bit to get on their feet. And both those guys look perfectly fine, if not very good, on most of their reps early on. And that's just really encouraging. So safety play was better tonight. I didn't notice Keanu Neal really at all. So don't really have much to speak on with him. Thought that DeMonte KZ made 2 really big plays in the third quarter. That tackle he had in open space on Derrick Henry, I think that's one of the biggest plays of the game, something that needs to be talked about way more, because I've seen Henry bust through the alley like that and take that 10, 12-yard gain and take it 60 to 70 yards. And he made a one-on-one stop right there, and that is a tough dude to get on the ground one-on-one. So kudos to him. He also made a nice tackle in the open field on that same drive. The Titans end up kicking a field goal. Who knows what the outcome of the game is if they end up scoring a touchdown, but we don't have to worry about that. Special teams is good by 2 field goals. He's been automatic this year, having a great season. Presley Harvin had a bounce back week. It seems like every time Tomlin calls him out, which Tomlin, he's had no issue calling him out in the press conferences this year. Seems like every time he gets called out in the press conference, he bounces back with a big game. And the Titans punter, I'm sure that y'all saw him tonight, but I think his name's like Stonehouse or something. But I know he has a crazy leg. But I honestly thought Harvin played pretty well tonight. Couple punts, backed up inside the 20. So really, really nice game for him. So like all in all, man, 5-3 going into the mini bye week. They got the Packers coming into town next week. I don't really know what to think of this Steelers team, man, because like you look at all the stats and everything, they keep winning these games when history says they probably shouldn't be. Is it luck? Is it style of play? I mean, I think that most of us could probably agree that this way of winning is probably not sustainable long term, but they've been getting away with it the past couple of years, man. So it's conflicting. I don't know how to feel, man, but I think against the teams like the Titans or the NFL's like lower class, middle class type of teams, this way of winning that they've kind of established is fine. I think that when you get into playing some of the playoff teams, that way, there's some questions. I just think that eventually you're going to need you're gonna need more firepower on offense. They're not gonna keep. I don't think they're gonna beat the teams that are at the top of the AFC standings 20-16. Especially once it comes January. I mean, having the defense to rely on is a good thing, and I think the Steelers defense has a chance to continually get better, especially once they get Minka back in the lineup, hopefully in a couple weeks. But I think that the slow starts for the offense and for Kenny Pickett they're concerning, man. I mean, you gotta find a way to get him in a little bit more of a rhythm. I know he's playing through the rib injury tonight. He said in the post game presser that it wasn't an issue. Who really knows? I'm sure that it's very uncomfortable. Uh, Bad ribs are no fun to throw with. Um, but just the overall like inaccuracy of stuff, some of the stuff, man, that I've seen just from him this year, the inconsistencies are just really weird. Stuff that he struggled with as a rookie. I don't think that he's necessarily like pinpoint precise passer coming out of college, but accuracy was never an issue, and it's been an issue this year. Several games where like tonight, where he's just spraying passes high, low, everywhere. Luckily, like I said, he's taking good care of the ball, so that's a big thing, especially like when you're kind of in this quarterback tier of like just kind of baseline quarterbacks, game manager types. I would say that he probably falls into right now. Big thing is just not turn, and that's really been the Steelers' MO. When they haven't turned the ball over on offense, they've been able to pull out these ugly wins. When they have turned the ball over, it's been ugly. So, and they haven't been able to come out on top. So, that's something that he deserves credit for, taking care of the ball. But I think eventually, once you start playing some of these better quarterbacks, some of these better offenses, they're going to need to find a way to get him settled in, man. It's just I don't know. I don't know why it takes him until the last drive of the game or whatever to get really going, but it's a theme. I know Tomlin's talked about he's racking his brain trying to figure it out. I don't really know the answer, to be honest. I wish I did, but hopefully over the second half of the season, he really gets going and gets into a nice rhythm, and we can see the Steelers go on a little bit of a win streak and enter, hopefully grab a playoff spot. Like I said, 5-3 with the Packers coming to town. I've watched a little bit of Packers stuff just live. I haven't obviously studied them on tape. I will next week, but the Packers not a good football team right now. Like I think the Steelers, I predicted that they would win against the Titans tonight. I think they'll beat the Packers next week as well, unless I uncover something about the Packers in my film study that I don't already know. But I think the Steelers will win that. It's at home. Got a long rest. Who knows? Maybe get Minka back, maybe not. But we'll see. I mean, 5-3, 6-3 potentially after next Sunday. You're in a really good spot for a wild card spot. Maybe even the division. Who knows? Depending on what happens. I mean, it's going to be a bloodbath down the stretch between North teams. So be interested to see what happens. I think the big thing, man, keep playing the rookies. Keep playing with Broderick Jones. Keep playing Joy Porter Jr., Keanu Benton. Keep playing these guys. Let them get experience. I think that those have been some of the brightest spots on this Steelers team. Really excited about it. Just the development of those guys in particular. So definitely we'll have a couple of film rooms up. Hopefully one this weekend, Saturday or Sunday will probably be when I upload something. Of course, you can follow all my work at SteelersNow.com. Just please, if you're watched throughout the video, appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody hanging with me, being patient. I'm trying to get my schedule back on track now. My son, two weeks old today, so trying to get on a little bit of a schedule with streaming and getting my videos and my writing done and everything. So appreciate the patience, everybody. Just like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop me a comment, all that good stuff, and I will check you guys next time. Peace.